used to be 100 movies came out every year, 200 movies. And yeah, sure, one did better than the others. It's a big hit. But lots of movies did okay. Now it feels like less is made, and they all, the top 10, or books, the top 10 books. We sell as many books now as we sold in the 80s. We sell as many records as we sold in the 80s. But 10 artists sell all of them. It's not a spread. And I think it's because the corporations got involved. So think about 70s cinema and how incredible. I just read the Quentin Tarantino Cinema Speculation. I'm only watching 70s movies now. It's so impassioned hearing him talk about the movies that he loved.
Yeah.
It kind of went through the book.
It's
and went,
infectious.
Oh, it's like the passion, the genius.
He was an amazing guy to talk to.
I mean, incredible.
I mean, his mind is so fascinating, and the way he approaches the art form, it's so different than anybody else. And also, his films are grandfathered in. Like, there's hyper violence in his films that would be like really criticized today if it was a new film. There's like male on female violence. There's there's a scene in I always talk about the scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Brad Pitt kills one of the Manson girls by smashing her head against the mantelpiece. And it's like, Jesus Christ, it's so wild.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that movie was incredible.
Incredible. All of his
because
films.
He
doesn't have a bad movie.
I don't know if that movie is the same for people that didn't know the story, because I was so tense watching the movie going, oh, I know what's going to happen. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. And then it doesn't happen. And you go, oh, it's the same trick as Inglourious Bastards.
Yes.
So fantastic. But that point I was making about like, right, okay, so 70s cinema was like kind of, there was a studio system, but it was a bit independent. The corporations hadn't got hold of it. Right. And then in the 80s, it became packaged and...
The algorithm hadn't been created yet, where they had a formula.
Well, there's great cinema being made. There's wonderful movies and filmmakers out there telling proper stories. But a lot of movies now, the big ones, are children's movies.
Yeah.
Anything with a good guy and a bad guy and no nuance...
Well, in this country, the biggest movies are superhero films.
And they're great. And they're really enjoyable.
Great. They're enjoyable.
But it's but it's not One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right. It's not Taxi Driver.
I didn't realize until Milos Forman died. I read the obituary of Milos Forman, and I had to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest again. I went, oh, it's about capitalism and communism.
Really?
I didn't get it. I felt like such a dummy. I went back and watched it again. He went, well, I think he came from what was Yugoslavia, and he obviously the book existed, Ken Kesey, and then when he made the movie, for him it was about the communist system versus the freedom of. Like, I watched it as a young man, and I watched it again maybe 3 years ago. Oh my God. That movie is...
It's a phenomenal movie. I need to watch it again. I haven't watched it in decades.
That thing of like, if you keep kind of communism, capitalism kind of in your head of like, what's the subtext of this? It's just...
Well, I got some time this weekend. I'll watch it again.
Oh, it's really rewarding.
There's a few of those films that I really need to go back and watch again. And I said Taxi Driver because that's another one that I've been really thinking about watching again. There's a few of those old films,
Well, you know this theory on Lindy Books? You ever heard that theory?
I know that term, but I forgot what it means.
Okay, so it's the idea like the lifespan of something is the life. So most of what is consumed in our world on phones, most of what people are looking at was produced in the last 24 hours and will be gone in 24 hours. No one ever says this. No one ever goes, oh, you got to see this TikTok from 2 years ago. It's my favorite. It's never been said. No one's had that conversation.
Right.
So it's all disposable. What stood the test of time? So it's the books is the first thing, right? So you go, well, these books are great books, and they've been around for 100 years, or they've George Orwell or Dostoevsky or those great books. Why have they stood the test of time? Some Margaret Atwood, whatever it is, whatever the great book that you enjoy. Why is that stood the test of time? That's worth reading. That's worth giving your time to. What's the record that's been around and people still talk about now? What's the thing that you could listen to that you go, oh, this is really gonna be brilliant. I know this is good. And I kind of find that an interesting idea with like cinema. We're all so drawn to the new all the time that we never go back and go, well, what are the greats?
Yeah.
And especially for like in our industry, in comedy or whatever, shout out to Dick Gregory, but like going back and watching the people that invented what we do. And like, I find that the frequency has changed in comedy. Like the laughs per minute has just increased. You watch stuff from the 70s and 80s, it's not quite the frequency. And I think it's that thing of the comedians were working with an audience that hadn't seen this before. It's the audience that have come with us.
Yes.
Those comics, I mean, Richard Pryor's as good as anyone working today, but his gags per minute was led by, he's waiting for the audience to catch up to the ideas.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think people are very educated about comedy now. One of the beautiful things about this club is that I see that a lot of these people are really hardcore comedy fans.
I met guys on the plane out. I met some guys in the airport lounge who were flying out from Newcastle in the north of England to come to the club tonight.
Yeah.
And that was their holiday. They say, yeah, I'm going to Austin, Texas to go to Joe Rogan's club. Because they asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm going out to do Joe Rogan. And they went, oh, we're going to the club as well. What night are you going? I went, well, I'm doing the podcast. I'm a fucking big deal.
Yeah, it's become comedy tourism here. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's nice, too, because I don't have to travel. I've been able to do a lot of shows and just people come to us.
Rereading books, watching old movies. I don't think you can see the same movie twice.
Right.
It's like you can't stand in the same river twice.
Mm-hmm.
Different river, different man.
Right.
People think different river. It's a different man.
Yes.
Like if you saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest 20 years ago and you rewatch it, you go, well, this is just phenomenal. And really, what do you remember?
Yeah.
You kind of remember maybe one or two kind of snippets of a scene, something visual, but like rereading old books, especially with nonfiction, you kind of go, well, I'm getting totally different things from it this time.
Yes, because you have a different perspective. You're
Yeah.
a different person. You have different information that you can that you have at your disposal. That you
Have you got that imprint app?
No. What is that?
It's like it does visuals on books. So if you've read a nonfiction book like Black Swan, it does it's like the I don't know what you would call it here, like the short version, the York Notes we would call it in the UK.
Yeah, Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes on the book. Fantastic for things that you've read years ago, and you kind of go, oh yeah, no, I remember that, and it's all the kind of salient points from the book. It's really interesting to kind of re-look at stuff, but it's also great for looking at stuff and going, I don't need to read that. You know, some self-help stuff, nah, that's nothing. And then some of them you kind of look at it and go, oh, I think I should read that. That feels like it'd be my thing. It's great, like quick check.
Yeah.
I love those things. Like Blinkist I love as well. You know, that kind of just when they do okay, this is what the book is, but go and read it if you,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.